bit late here, and I'm sorry for that. If you'll all rise, do we have a minister here to lead us in prayer? If not, we'll have Mike Wright.
Our kind and gracious Father, we come again thanking Thee for the many blessings that Thou hast given us. We thank for each one that has showed up tonight to represent the county and about the county business and do the best we can. And please guide and direct us, for we give Thee the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you remain standing, we'll have Jeff Linton lead us in pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we welcome everybody to the March 29th meeting. And first thing on our docket here is to approval of the February 22nd minutes. I have a motion.
Second.
Jane makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. First on appointments, we have Paula Edwards from the Health Department. Steve.
Good evening. I gave some handouts to the salary committee. If the rest of you would like to see those, I do have additionals. What I'm here to ask is for a pay grade change, a pay scale change for 3 of our employees. 2 are on scale A, 2 are on, or 1 is on scale B. Anyway. The workload has changed, the duties have changed. We're talking about legal documents that are created by vital records, many more grants that we're having to work with. We are now filing insurance. We have not always filed insurance in our office, but we've been required by the state to file insurance, and we file with Medicare and a variety of non-government sponsored insurances. And those require contracts that are handled. So one of our A's files insurance and handles billing clients, doing contracts for those insurance companies. She also works with emergency preparedness, goes to meetings, handles vaccine inventory, ordering and returning through the state. So there's a myriad of duties that have changed completely since her job began.
Plus, you did say you have less employees than the original.
Yes, and when I first began, about 16 years ago.
Okay, so to kind of give a summary of what she told the salary committee, her department has 5 full-time employees, 3 part-time is what your budget is at. She's asking to move 2 employees, which are immunization clerk and records deputy, from an A to a B. This would be a difference in a starting salary of $30,450 to a B starting salary of $31,650 or 50 cents per hour, $1,200 per year. She's also asking to move her first deputy from a B to a C, which would amount to $950 increase salary. The other part of the health department having their own tax levy, she has a balance in an account of $920,511. We could make a transfer, am I right, Jessica, to
And we'd request an additional
appropriation from those funds to
Cover that.
offset these pay increases, and then it would also require a change in the salary ordinance. But this is not coming out of what we spend, this is coming out of her own tax levy and her own funding, am I correct?
We have revenues that we bring in as well as the tax levy, and it's all that. It's either utilized by the health department or it's not utilized at all.
That was an interesting point, that money can only be used by you if we wanted it, we couldn't have it.
I don't think the
It's
state would
yours.
let you go.
She said several years ago, you had to move 25,000.
I think
There was
within
actually
the second
nothing
year
in
of
that.
my starting, we were in deficit, and we have a rollover fund that we also, is from our revenues. And we used our money to pay our deficit. And then since then, we have built that fund through the use of grants and other means, not that we take the grant money and put it into there,
Right.
but by paying for things through grants. that we've been able to build it up.
Does anyone have any questions on what she's proposing or concerns?
So this is out of their fund?
The health fund.
We would have to go through Jessica,
The
and
health
we would
fund.
have to
The
do
health
an
fund.
additional funding,
I'll
right?
have to come back and see you next month to do an additional.
Yeah.
From that fund.
From
And
that
amend the
fund.
salary ordinance.
And change the salary.
And change the salary ordinance.
Yeah, but it,
We have to do that tonight, right? Change the salary ordinance?
No, we'll have to
No.
prepare it and assign it a number, you have to vote
Okay.
on it next month.
This would just be step one of going through the
Oh.
process of that. But that being said, does anyone have any questions for Paula?
So when this comes out of this, goes in the salary ordinance, the fund she's taking out, will it come out there the following year or the year after that? How's that work?
How will we going forward with this?
Yeah, it'll be her fund,
it'll just be in the budget.
yeah.
Right, it'll be budgeted
Yeah,
properly.
we'll just budget it in. But our budget always our budget, whenever we present it, here with all the other departments, our budget is always coming only out of our fund. It never comes out of county general.
They have their own, like some parts of the highway.
Kinda beat that
department has
into-
their own.
Okay.
It's unusual, and I think for many years, I didn't realize that wasn't a known thing.
Mhm.
And so I never bothered to kind of make it a big deal.
It's a
We
big
also-
deal,
Yeah, I see that.
very big deal.
16 years, I see it now.
Okay. Any other questions?
We need a motion to proceed.
Yes, if there's no other questions, I would look for a motion to
As a
approve.
recommendation from the salary committee, I would move that this salary ordinance be amended to cover these three positions.
I will second that from the salary committee. With that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Leslie Lawmill from the Purdue Extension.
We're standing in for Leslie, she's out on leave as of today. This is our annual report, came down from campus, it was just released. A few items to note, things that, we do offer here in the county on page 3. The On Local Government, our programs that, I've helped host here, in the county, most of them were virtual because it was, being offered during the COVID pandemic. On page 4, the community members grow together. Annie, our NEP, the Nutrition Education Program, she's been doing a lot with the schools and communities, the gardening programs. And Sarah, before she moved and transitioned to another position, our former HHS educator, and our new one, who will introduce herself here in just a moment, she was doing Where Does Your Money Go programming, and that's talked about here as well on page 7. And I went ahead and paperclipped on the very last page. The Master Gardener program just released their information and numbers as well. That just came out today, so that's fresh and hot off the printer for you. They didn't get that in the actual magazine publication, but I did want to get that in there because we do have a very active Master Gardener group here in the county, and they're eager to grow their numbers, so we're offering programs with that. But we do
May I
have
ask
our...
a question before you go on?
Yes.
About Master Gardeners. So
Yes.
they become Master Gardeners, then what? Can I call a Master Gardener and ask them a question, or
They-
is it just something they do?
No, you can. They are representatives of Purdue in a sense, but they have gone through the training to answer questions and be certified, and they are termed a certified Master Gardener, so they can work with community members
Okay.
or.
And they're willing to do that?
Oh, absolutely. They that's what they want to do
Okay,
a lot of
all
them.
right. I think that's the part I didn't understand.
Oh, okay. Some just want the training, the knowledge, but others want to continue on and serve as volunteers and earn hours to get further badges and honors. So, yeah.
Actually, I had one come to my house.
Oh, cool. To help with a project,
It
or
was a rose bush that I didn't
oh,
understand.
to help identify problems
Yeah.
or diagnose, kind of. Yeah, cool.
Very helpful.
No, and this lovely young lady, she's gonna introduce herself, but she's our new HHS educator. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace Thompson. I'm the new HHS educator or Health and Human Sciences. I took Sarah Richards' position, started about a month ago, so I'm still trying to get used to things and learning. Just to give you a little background about me, I got my undergrad in social work at IU in Bloomington, and then I got my master's in social work at IUPUI. I have some background in doing therapy with families and children up in Morgan County, and then now I'm here doing some more community-based work, so I look forward to working with some different organizations. We do programming on finances, family, health, and food. So those are kind of the topics that we cover, and we have programming for like all the way from like infants up to our older population and everything in between. So my job right now has just been kind of getting to know the community and getting to know the needs. So I look forward to learning more about Lawrence County and more about the needs that are here in the county.
Welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Any other questions or anything that we can help with?
Does anyone have any other questions?
Nice presentation, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Scott, you should be to Bruce. The first one you did was salary committee, but that's okay. So,
Then we have Leslie, so then we're the Bruce, right? Bruce Hans, Public Defender. Evening, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you all doing?
Good.
Your request for transfer from a full-time salaries model to contract services, $40,000. The $40,000 over budgeted for contract services, as I think we all anticipated, got used up in the normal course of things. We're averaging about, if we can take the average for this last 3 months or so, we're coming up to about $150,000 for the year, which is what we had talked about budgeting before, but that's what we look at, what we're doing right now. We still have the funds available full-time, only payroll, public defender payroll, because we still are short, filling 2 positions.
You're short 2 positions, so you have how many right now?
We have, in addition to myself, 3 attorneys full-time in the office, and we have 2 part-timers, so another full-time equivalent outside of the office, so we have 2 other full-time equivalents that we need to fill. I've had 2 applications in the last 2 weeks. One of them is a student, but I think would be a strong candidate, but that would obviously be a long-term prospect, and we'll be taking the bar until July, getting sworn in late September or early October. The other individual hasn't gotten back to me, so I'm not sure how, and he's already a lawyer, but I'm not sure how interested he is. He's not in this area, so.
What's the, as far as right now, who's got the most, I guess, seniority in your office, other than you? I mean,
It's probably a 3-way tie with the 3 people who are in the office. They all got hired around the same time. They all have about the same amount of experience. I think probably Robert Garrett would have the edge, I think, as far as criminal law. Christine Wolf may have more time. I think she's been an attorney longer, but not as
I
much.
mean, how long have they been with Lawrence County? What I was
Oh.
wondering.
Gosh, we hired them, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
I was just wondering the turnover rate. I mean, I know you've had a lot of issues, but so I was just kind of wondering how long they're staying and.
Yeah, this group, 3 we've had now for about a year and a half.
Okay. So this is actually a transfer out of your 113?
Yes, sir.
So this is not additional, this is a transfer. Does anybody have any questions on this request? If not, I would seek a motion to approve the $20,000 transfer for the Public Defender Agency.
Second.
Have a motion from Mike, second from Julie. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Hoping we'll see in a couple months, but we'll see.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, next we have Chad Shue from Community Corrections. Community Chad.
Community Corrections has a Ford Fusion that we're not in need of, and we found it's a good time to trade a vehicle right now. We need a new Explorer. One of our Explorers is getting some age on it, and it's got about 128,000 miles. So, we need to transfer $25,000 from our CTP fund into project income, and then we didn't anticipate this at the beginning of the budget cycle, so we need to create the line item to buy a vehicle. Bedford Ford's gonna give us, I think, $12,500 for our Fusion on trade, and then we'll pay the difference of roughly $25,000 for
And your
a
board,
brand new Explorer.
you brought that before the board.
And my advisory board's approved it.
Mike, you were the one that had questions last time.
Yeah, I'm just questioning not buying from General Motors because of the plant here?
We tried to go that route, the process for getting an SUV that we needed, they didn't have anything, so.
I asked that too, Mike. They tried.
And there's still a delay with Ford, but it's not gonna be as long as with Chevy.
Is this a new one?
Yes. We've had 3 or 4 different, Ford SUVs, and they've all did really well for us over the years.
And this is his money, this is how
This-
they're
yeah.
project.
Yeah, project income.
Yeah, no kind of money.
Okay, is there any other questions?
This is the one we tabled last time.
Yeah, Mike
Because
has a
Mike
question,
had
Mike has a
question,
question
and
about that.
I couldn't answer
that
it,
kind of-
and I'm on his board. I forgot.
Scott, your two motions need to approve the transfer first and then approve doing the additional to actually spend in the other fund.
So we need a motion to approve transferring the $24,500 from account number 2524, is that to that, from project income?
Transfer from 1195 to 2524.
Okay, that's this one.
So
So,
moved.
have a motion from Jeff, a second from Janie. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, I'll vote no.
And opposed is Mike, so 6-1. Okay, so then we need to make an approval for the,
To spend the funds.
spend the $24,500 out of line 25, or 25, 24.
Out of 25,
Out
24.
of 25,
Yeah, that's
24.
where we're moving it.
So, do I have a motion for that?
And
Janie makes a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Julie makes a second. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, next we have representatives from volunteer fire departments, Jason Lewis, Bobby Brown, and Paul Gillespie.
Hello, thanks for the opportunity. I'm Jason Lewis, for those that you don't know, I'm Fire Chief of Marshall Township. Chief Gillespie and Chief Brown that are here with me as well, they're from Shawswick and Marion. But we're here on behalf of the volunteer departments in the county as a whole. We're just trying to gain some visibility, some awareness, see if we can bring any light to the departments. I know you guys are all aware of the price hikes and everything there is across the country, everything there is, but in the fire service, we've seen about a 15% increase in just the last 2 years in the equipment, but we've not seen anything additional as far as our funding comes. I realize that our funding doesn't come directly from you, it's from the townships or the town or wherever it is. What we're here to do is hopefully gain some awareness on what we're out here doing as volunteer departments when opportunities come up, such as the CARES Act or the ARP funds, stuff like that, that we might be able to be a thought beforehand to where there might be some opportunity for us. A $10,000 donation to some of these departments would be huge as far as trying to just outfit an individual. We've had volunteer departments that get nothing for going on these calls for the most part. They're completely volunteer, they're using their own fuel. With fuel prices the way they are, they're responding to these calls, which Chief Gillespie will go over how many calls we've had in the county here in a minute, but with these calls, they're putting fuel in and stuff like that. To outfit a firefighter, a volunteer firefighter, we're looking at about $3,000 is about as cheap as you can go to outfit one firefighter, and that's a volunteer. So, I don't think anybody from our end here completely understands why there wasn't any CARES Act funds that were available, or there aren't any way that we can ARP, or get money from ARP. In addition to being all volunteer departments, they're also nonprofit organizations. Every one of them are nonprofit organizations, consistent with the state, Secretary of State, and all that too. So, we're just kind of
When the money was available, did anybody come in here and talk?
There wasn't anybody come in here, no. There was some requests made and denied. We just kind of want to be a thought, you know what I mean? That, hey, see what the volunteer departments need, or maybe just give a small lump sum to somebody, or even call one of us and we'll put a group together, whatever we need to do to try to put something together. I realize the ARP that their consultant has told them they can't give any money to the volunteer departments. We find that completely.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we find that completely disheartening with nearly $9 million, how the volunteer departments that are also nonprofit organizations aren't able to get any of those funds. As much as a $50,000 donation to each of your 9 volunteer departments would be a huge improvement to their continuous improvement and their longevity going forward as far as equipment. There could be a number of things done to ensure that funds were appropriately spent, that they're going in the right direction, that it's something that can be sustained. But right now, we're just kind of.
Well, the township does, I mean, I know Shawswick does a lot toward the fire department, right, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, every one of us do. I mean,
I know Shawswick just because I was on that board,
Yeah.
but, I don't know how the others do, but I think the volunteer fire departments and the, poor relief, hate to say that term, probably another term,
right,
are the 2 main functions of the township.
Right.
So I know that they're very aware of your
right.
issues and try to help.
But they're limited just like
Yeah.
everybody else in here tonight. Okay,
Well,
they can only go
I'm
so-
surprised about that,
I think it's important that you make what you do, you're a viable asset to the community, and I think most people realize that out in the areas you serve. And I think it's good that you're giving a report and letting people know what they're actually receiving for what funds they are appropriating to your departments. And like I said, I think when I had the conversation with Chief Gillespie, I use the extension office as an example. They come in once a quarter, kind of give us a rundown of what they've done and make a presentation. It kind of keeps their mission out in front of people, or it gives them some media attention. And I think you guys are deserving just the same. So I mean, it's a good step in a direction to be
Be very
transparent in where
Yeah.
you are and what you're doing. So I applaud you for that.
So we have intentions of continuing that, so at least on a quarterly basis, we'll come in, we'll try to do it at the end of each quarter so that we can get good, strong numbers as far as what the calls are. The departments in Lawrence County are making more calls now than they've ever made. So in the last 2 years, we've seen extreme increases in all of our run volume. Not just COVID related, but.
Have you never done insurance? Bobby, we talked about this years ago.
So we do insurance charge, a number of us do insurance charges for our calls. The whole thing is we do fire and we do car wrecks. We don't charge for EMS. That's always been the rule here in Lawrence County. We don't charge for the EMS calls, which makes up about 70% of the call volume each department makes if you look at their annual call volume. We do charge for fires, we do charge for wrecks. However, the insurance companies have also found ways to get around that where they don't always pay out. So that is true. I've actually been in conversations with the State Fire Marshal's office recently because we've had 3 where we had car wrecks that the insurance companies deemed it wasn't a claim and it wasn't able to be tied to the individual's insurance, so we never got our payout. So a bucket of foam, if we use a bucket of foam on a car wreck or a car fire, that's $100 that we just used just to use that. So I've been a volunteer here in Lawrence County. It'll be 32 years this November. I've been on FEMA committees for grants and stuff like that, and I've seen what other counties and other departments and stuff around the country are making, and we're definitely on the lower end of what these volunteers are getting. I get it's a whole tax base and stuff like that, and I understand there's restrictions to it and everything else, but just to give you an idea where we're at, if you look at a number of our departments here and their call volume and their budgets and their staffing and their jurisdictional size and populations, we're definitely underfunded when you look around the country at other states and other counties that are in the same place we are. We are definitely on the lower end of where the departments are budgeted. And there are some departments here in the county that I still don't understand how they continue to operate because of their budgets that they're getting. And I'm sure you're all aware, we've had 2 departments in recent years that have folded because they can't continue to operate under the current situations and circumstances.
which you guys, I guess, pick up.
Yeah, so the other departments have picked up and done it, that covered those areas that had to be covered. So, one great thing we've had here in Lawrence County, and we've had it as long as I can remember, is we've had a great mutual aid agreement, networking and working together. So the departments, when we do have a fire or do have a call, everybody goes out and supports each other, and we're all willing to go and respond wherever it is, as long as we're not leaving our other territories completely uncovered. We'll take and do whatever we can to go help wherever we can in the county. It's not been uncommon for 3-4 departments to be on one structure fire in one jurisdiction to help make sure we got manpower. In addition to the cost and everything else, manpower's been an issue in the last few years too. People just don't want to volunteer. We don't pay anybody here. We don't have the funds or the budgets now to pay for the most part, so nobody gets any kind of funding or anything like that. So
I think it wasn't like a funding to Williams, it was like the volunteers, because I went to a couple of their meetings, they had them staff here, no one.
that's the biggest problem with Guthrie is the same way. They just couldn't get anybody to come do it in those areas. So unfortunately, both those departments ended up having to close the doors. And as you said, they're just absorbed by other
I
departments.
was gonna say, what happens to their truck?
Their equipment, I think, in most cases, all reverted to the department that agreed to take it over. So the equipment and the station and everything else just reverted to where they had to go get fire protection. Because it's on the townships and the governmental bodies to provide fire protection. So when Guthrie folded up, for instance, they had to go to Shoswick and have them come in and provide fire protection. So all that equipment, all the trucks and everything is given to them to be able to use to provide fire protection. So,
I have a question for you, Bobby. Do you use that station out there on Peerless Road
Yeah,
still?
yeah.
so
We got an engine and a brush truck sitting there.
Okay.
Jason, do the volunteers get any help with their equipment?
as far as their PPE, the departments buy their PPE. So, and I'm just speaking on behalf of Marshall, but we apply for grants every year. We've been lucky enough since I've been at Marshall that 2 or 3 times a year we're getting funded. And we're able to buy 2 or 3 sets of gear a year by doing those matching grants. Now, very few of those grants are 100% grants, so you might get $5,000, and then we've got to do a fish fry or whatever to come up with the other $5,000.
Does that hold true for the other?
Yes, I mean, it holds true for every fire department here. We write on grants constantly, and we actually work together in writing on regional grants.
We've done 2, 3 regional grants in the last couple of years where there was at least 6 departments in each one of those that went into grants. Last year, we got nearly $400,000 through FEMA, and we were able to buy 58 air packs that were distributed throughout the county. It still required a $50,000 match, though, that we had to come up with. From each department had to come up with their match to match those packs that were bought. It's a huge infusion into the volunteer service here, because we were able to buy 58 brand new packs and 116 new air bottles for these departments. And not only were they new, they were an improved unit because they met all current NFPA standards, and they were able to increase the volume on what they could be used for. So historically, we went with 30-minute packs in the past because that was what was cheapest and that's what we could afford. And we were able to increase that to 45-minute bottles and packs this last time through that grant. So stuff like that we've done. And like I said, just to outfit one firefighter, the cheapest that you can outfit them with just a helmet, coat, pants, boots, gloves, hood, stuff like that, you're looking at a minimum of about $3,000. So
Regulations keep getting stricter on tires.
regulation, yeah, tires on the trucks every 7 years have to
They
be
never wear
replaced.
tires out, they just have to replace them through the years.
It doesn't matter how wore they are or whatever, every 7 years they just
That's
have.
worse than it's going to.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have a limitation on how they're.
So they're emergency vehicles, and the problem is if you don't do it in 7 years and something happens on year 8, then you're responsible, or I'm responsible as a fire chief if I haven't taken care of that. So, the goal is just to come in, make some awareness, make sure you guys see
Yeah,
us.
good job.
As an organization, we've had chiefs meetings on a regular basis for the most part. Everybody's in the same boat. I mean, everybody's scrounging. We're doing 5, 6 fundraisers a year in Marshall Township just to try. And about probably a third of what we raise goes just for operating funds, because in addition to all those costs, you have pump testing and ladder testing and hose testing and insurance and all that stuff that's on an annual basis.
One of the things, way back when, we talked about, just the homes in that area making donations.